Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
If we are lucky, Matt Ishbia will do more than guide the Suns to an NBA championship. He will lift the entire valley. His singular pursuit of winning, no matter what the cost, will be the new standard, thereby embarrassing and exposing any miserly behavior from his new peers in Arizona. Which brings us to the Cardinals and Michael Bidwill, who did a very smart thing yesterday. He chose to make Budda Baker happy at his own expense, even though Baker had 2 full years left on his contract, and even though Baker was clearly opportunistic in pursuit of more money. Now, while some people thought it was more important to set an organizational precedent and not indulge Baker, I believe that would have been a big mistake, because Jonathan Gannon is a first-year head coach with one chance at a first impression, one chance to install a different culture from day one, and Jonathan Gannon also wants a violent football team, a team that is physical at every position, a team that distinguishes itself through effort and intensity, and that would have been extremely tough to ask from 53 men when the team wouldn't reward the guy who does it better than anybody, the guy who models the very culture Gannon is looking to install. So, in the end, it's been a rough couple of years for the Cardinals, starting with their owner, but Bidwill deserves a nod today for fueling and not sabotaging a new era of football. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. You can find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
The news of the Buddha's contract today, do you feel glad that kind of storyline goes away now?
What storyline, Darren? Yeah, I'm glad that Buddha's out here and he's going to help us win games.
What storyline?
What storyline?
With the deadpan delivery from Jonathan Gannon. Yeah, the Budda Baker storyline is now a thing of the past, and we can concentrate once again fully on Budda Baker, the football player, the leader, the example setter for the Arizona Cardinals. And look, what does that amount to for the Cardinals? That remains to be seen. You certainly, to push this thing forward, you want Budda on your side. So the two sides came together on this agreement. You can't really call it a contract because it's it's just an addition to the contract that was in place. Yeah. He got a raise. He appears to be happy. Walking out day one, some Cardinals content team cameras caught him, and he's like, "Yeah, year 7, day 1, let's do this." And to have him in from the outset, I think is a big win for the Cardinals.
Oh, it is. It really, really is. And this kind of thing doesn't happen without Michael Bidwill making it happen. I don't think Monty Ossenford decided on his own, hey, you know what? Let's pay the guy. So I do think that this is a good sign, because it means the owner is very cognizant of what needs to get done here. And that is, so Jonathan Gannon, you heard from Tyler Drake, there's a new energy because of his personality. He's much more communicative, much more high energy, right? And so it's having an impact on the working conditions in a good way. Now, Jonathan Gannon's got to back that up with plans and game plans and smart sideline decisions during games and all that stuff. That's the art of the position. But this is what you want. This is exactly the way you wanted this thing to begin, with players flying around, happy, and vibing on the different nature and the different feel and the different vibe.
Yeah, there's a guy who's on the Cardinals roster who's been through a lot of training camps. His 9th camp, believe it or not, for DJ Humphries. Now with his 4th head coach, Arians, Wilkes, Kingsbury. Wow. Now Gannon. He was asked, "Hey, has there been a culture shift here?"
Oh, definitely. It's been a culture shock. It ain't even been no gradual shift. It's shock. You get with it to get going.
And how camp is off to a good start in his eyes.
Yeah, it feels really good. It feels good especially for me personally. It feels good just to be back with the group, getting to run around a little bit. It feels good.
Well, DJ Humphries is a guy that confided in us a few years ago that he wasn't always happy in camp, depending on who the head coach was. So, as another veteran leader, I think he's kind of
I think he's still mad at BA.
I'll never forget when he's like, "No, you all love BA."
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Like, whoa, doesn't everybody love BA?
But that was a rough beginning to his career. I mean, that was hard for DJ Humphries to overcome as a rookie on a team that was a Super Bowl contender, by the way. Mm-hmm. But he didn't play And we all remember the knee deep comment. That stuck with him for a while.
Yeah, he was basically a healthy scratch every game of the season, and that left a mark. But again, it's some football players require that. So yeah, listen, I'm really glad that this is not that dual track story of okay, let's be optimistic about all this going on, and let's be worried about Budda Baker and the effect he's going to have on the team. So there's a lot of value in this, and I can tell you from what I've been told, at one point in time, the Baker camp did not think this was going to happen.
Yeah, and we talked about this is going to be the first big thing that the draft was, but the first big move that the Monty Austin-Fort new regime would do, and they handled it by rewarding one of their star players, by eliminating distractions before they became distractions.
Yes.
So they've really got off to a good start setting the sort of precedent and setting the tone.
Yeah.
And there's this weird juxtaposition going on, I think, for Cardinal fans. I know I feel it. I'm sure others do as well. The projections for the Cardinals, the immediate future for the Cardinals doesn't look all that bright. And, that's what you're faced with initially. But you have that on one side, but it's almost impossible if you're a real Cardinal fan not to feel this forward momentum. This, we're calling it the dawn of a new era. I think that's a perfect way to put it. The direction has been corrected for the Arizona Cardinals. So moving forward, you got the now, which might be a little bit rough, but on the other side of that, everything you want's on the other side of hard.
Where do we hear that before? Yeah.
But moving to the future, it's hard not to feel that optimism. At least that's the way I feel.
Keep that up. Monty Williams might want you to marry one of his daughters.
No, he'll never want that.
So and as it applies to Budda Baker, one of the quotes he said in the offseason was when they talked about that controversial goal line play that the Eagles like to do. And remember how he talked about how he ran full speed into that gap and nearly got, killed a couple of different times. Yeah. But you need guys to make crazy normal. And Budda Baker does that. On a football field, you need guys who will go put their face in the fan. And because when you get a team leader who does it, then everyone's got to do it. And Jonathan Gannon has made it very clear he wants physicality. He wants everybody involved in tackling and hitting, which I think is definitely an improvement. Because I could go on and on about this topic for days. The Cardinals have had too many players over the course of the last 10 years who just made business decisions, and it didn't cost them. It didn't cost them playing time, right? And you can't have that.
Yeah,
because
when
you
tackle
go
optional.
No. So from my standpoint, I drove away from here yesterday, and the news broke about this, and I
10:01.
Yes, I quite literally put my fist in the air, like, thank goodness this new era has a chance to actually be that, to actually be a new era. So there you go. And I know Wolf was one of the many, not many, but the few that thought the Cardinals should stick on the precedent that don't reward a guy who's 2 years out. To me, the Budda Baker thing, just the way he plays, sets him apart. It just does.
Wolf sort of gave it a 50% approval because he said they rewarded him, but it wasn't a new contract. It wasn't a contract extension. So they just sort of gave him a raise on his current contract.
But enough to appease the player, which I think is a win for the Cardinals.
Yeah. And so then that way you keep your precedent intact, if you will. Okay. Yeah. All right. Then
Best of both worlds, kind of.
Then you did get the best of both worlds.
But I'm also of the belief, and I think you are too, Bick, that you can't throw a blanket on situations like that.
No.
It's got to be a case by case.
Yes.
You got to consider the individuals involved.
Yes, because again, sometimes principles can be a euphemism for frugality. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that was quite literally the fear here, that message would be sent to these football players and it would disengage them at a very, very foundational level. Can't have that.
Yep.